Hello, welcome to Weather Lab 9, Part 4. And this is the part where I'm just going to remind you how these maps work, and then you're going to answer the questions. And so, really quick, on the first page of 103, they just show you wind speeds in knots and remind you that the tail points in the direction that the wind is coming from, and that's how we name the wind. So once again, I'm drawing in my compass of north, south, the west is on this side, and east, and I can name my wind direction, and it's pretty close to west, so I'd call that a westerly wind. So it's coming from the west, and its wind speed is a flag, which is 50, a whole bar, which is 10, and a half bar, which is 5. So 50, 60, 5, 65, and knots. Knots will be your unit. Please don't write 50 or 65K. Don't do that. Write the word knots. So now moving on to the next page that's in here, we start to look at weather maps. And the weather map that I'm kind of attempting to zoom into over here is a 850 millibar weather map, which means every line on this map represents 850 millibars of pressure. And the numbers that are written on the 850 millibar pressure line, so these numbers written here and here on these contour style intervals, these are actually altitude in meters. So they're basically telling you that each one of these lines is the height of 850 millibars. So at 850 millibars, the height at the low pressure is 1,230. And the height, meters, add the unit there, and the height at the high pressure over here is 1,612 meters. Some other information that they've added in for you is they've given you the temperature and these dotted lines. And remember, this is 850 millibars, so this is kind of like low altitude cloud height. So this is our low altitude, these are our stratus cloud heights. And you can see these little dotted lines in here are giving you temperatures, and they're just trying to show you where it's a colder cloud climate and warmer cloud climate. So if I highlight my 0 line, right, I can kind of see where I'm going to have sort of a warmer cloud storm formation to the south of this line, right, everybody down in the southern part of the line. And these are like -5 and -10, so everybody in the north is kind of a colder cloud formation up above, right? So we have all these different bits of information that we can deduce. And even written in here is some wind directions, but this isn't way up high. This isn't jet stream height winds. So you're not getting a lot of wind information at this height. All right, so I'm going to flick to the next page maps, because once you've got a handle on this, it should be fairly easy to answer the questions. Keep in mind, if they're asking for locations, you don't know where they are, grab a globe or an atlas from in the room and look up the exact location so that you can find the state that they're asking for, and you don't just pick the arbitrary area. So on this next map, this one here, on our next page set, I'm going to flick over, is a 500 millibar map, this one. So this is middle altitude cloud height range, and this middle altitude cloud heights, they're not even going to tell you temperatures. It's not worth it. It's well over -10 degrees now. We know that we're going to form clouds. It's very, very cold. So if there's moisture up here, it's going to get cloud formation. We're starting to see some wind streams, because you can see some directionality with our wind currents, right, on our wind streams. We can also see that the altitudes where we get 500 millibars are getting very evenly aligned. They tend to go in one direction. So we can see that the westerly winds are starting to pick up in this direction. Once again, these are the heights that 500 millibars of pressure are occurring. And these heights are in meters. So these are all heights for your meters. Same thing, you have wind speeds. They're going to ask you questions. Answer them. Be very literal. You're not trying to come up with information from nowhere. You're using the map to answer what is happening. And then finally, on the last page of the lab is a 200 millibar pressure map. And this millibar pressure map is way up near the top of the troposphere. So this is the jet stream. This is high altitude cloud formation. These things are moving incredibly fast. The jet stream moves anywhere from 100 miles per hour to 200 miles per hour on average. And so you're going to see really fast wind speeds up here. You'll also see that the difference between the 200 millibars of pressure and the altitude heights become a little bit less varied. It tends to be a little bit more consistent. And once again, these are in meters as you're looking. It's a fairly straightforward section of the lab, so you should be able to work your way through and work out your answers.